Hello players, it's the end of 2017 and games have never been better, both visually and technically. But it's not all peaches and Candy Crush as we run through my top 10 list of the worst things in gaming. And don't worry, EA is in there. This first one is just for the master race. At number 10 we have got game launchers and multiple game clients. Now this might not be a problem for everybody, but when you're playing a game with a gamepad in Steam Big Picture and a game launcher pops up, it becomes a peripheral juggling mess because 9 times out of 10 they require the mouse to choose the settings. And this isn't just limited to small indie titles as well. Big titles like FIFA also have game launchers, which is just lazy. Strike one, EA. And whilst we're here, Uplay and Origin are on that list as well. We just want all our games in one place. God! Strike two, EA. Number 9 is local co-op, and outside of, say, sports and the Nintendo Wii, we had games like GoldenEye, Time Splitters, Left 4 Dead, Little Big Planet, Guitar Hero and Rayman Legends. But now we're really limited, and this isn't taken away from games like Trine and Portal, because they are amazing. But we just want more. And sometimes, you know, we don't want to play with someone online halfway across the world. We want to play with someone halfway across the room. Number 8 is game balancing, specifically yo-yo and coin toss gameplay mechanics. Yo-yo gameplay happens most in racing games, where if you are in the lead, the cars behind will speed up to catch up with you, and likewise if you are behind, the cars in front will slow down so you can catch up with them. Now this isn't in every game, but it is in enough and takes away a lot of skill. Coin toss is most common in sports games, especially FIFA. When you attempt a goal, things like wind resistance, angle, speed, direction are not taken into consideration for the most part. Instead, there's a virtual coin toss in the background which decides whether you will score a goal, or whether it will be saved, or whether you get a reversal, or a three-pointer, or a home run. It is again very lazy. Strike 3, EA. Games like Rocket League don't use yo-yoing or coin toss mechanics, which is why it's so freaking difficult to score a goal. But when you do score, that means that it was scored with skill and not luck. Most of the time. Number 7 is always on DRM or online required for basic game functions. DRM is bad for the whole gaming community. It's often clunky and poorly implemented and can even stop your ability to play your game when it goes wrong. And on some lower end systems can completely cripple performance. And if the game servers are offline, you may not be able to play at all, even if you are online. Remember the amazing SimCity launch back in 2013? Well, basically EA's servers couldn't handle it. Strike 4, EA. That also means that often pirated versions of the game perform better because they bypass all this DRM, allowing you to play offline and giving a better experience. And then there's some stupid stuff like the new Gran Turismo with not being able to save the single player campaign unless you are online. What the f***? Just stop it! Number 6 is early access and betas. What are you talking about? Betas are great. We get to play the game before everybody else. No, what you get to play is an unfinished, buggy version of the game before the people who waited get to play a much more polished experience. Hopefully. Early access is marketing bullshit. So some companies actually charge you for getting to play the game early. They should be paying you as beta testers for doing their work for them. Strike 5, EA. Halfway, and number 5 is a digital games collection. I'm going to start off by saying that having a digital games collection is great. No more faffing about having to swap discs, no more broken discs, or scratch games, or anything like that. The Star Trek computer is here, but it comes at a cost. We don't own our games anymore. Okay, well technically we never really owned them. But we have lost the right to resell them or archive them or keep them forever. In 20 years, a NES cartridge is still going to be a NES cartridge, which I can trade or swap or sell or whatever. In the year 2037, I might even be able to play half of my games collection because all of the servers would have been defunct. Or even worse, platforms like Xbox Live, PSN and Steam could go offline tomorrow and I wouldn't be even able to download my games. There needs to be a way for us to sell and archive our digital games collection, just like with the physical media that came before it. Number 4 is game optimization and file size. Today you'll be hard pressed to find a AAA game under 30 gigabytes. While we are using much higher textures and resolutions than ever before, it seems like game developers have just given up on trying to create games with a reasonable file size. I'm fortunate enough to have a decent internet connection, but it's not the same story all over the world. Some people can have to wait days, even weeks, to download a AAA game. And on top of that, there's often a day one patch, which in some cases is as big as the original game file itself. But while games are not being optimized for file size, they're not being optimized for performance either. I remember when
Average Farm remembers
developers used to squeeze out every inch of performance out of a machine that they possibly could. Now, the answer just seems to be simply to buy better hardware. Number 3 goes to DLC, downloadable content. Allow me to cast your mind back to the year 2000 when DLC was known as expansion packs and the game that started it all, The Sims. Okay, The Sims may not have been the first game with an expansion pack, but it definitely led the way. Back then, if a game was a hit, the game studio would take the money they made from that game and reinvest it into making more content for that game. That's a novel idea, right? The standalone game, The Sims, was a full game, and the expansion packs, which came 5 months after the original game, only added to the experience. Now it's all too often that we see day one DLC. DLC that is just the main game chopped up into different sections and sold for more. Injustice 2, anyone? Now, not all DLC is bad, and some studios even give it away for free, which is great, but the practice of chopping games up into bits and selling them separately really needs to stop. Have you ever wanted to spend your loose change on a virtual hat or a digital hamburger? Welcome to the world of microtransactions at number 2. Free-to-play games get a free play here because they cost money to develop and run. So if you want to buy something in a free-to-play game, spend how much you think the game is worth to you, and that's it, nothing more. But microtransactions and loot crates in full price games are just bad, especially when those loot crates are tied to progression. Strike 6, EA. Of course, EA wasn't the first one to do this, but they will be the one that everybody remembers. Tying loot crates to progression takes away any form of skill or sense of pride and achievement from a game, and is a lazy cash-grabbing way of replacing a decent storyline or skills tree. Not only that, it preys on human psychology in the same way that gambling does. And on top of all that, it is gambling, and these games are in the hands of kids. Strike 7, EA. Most people have accepted microtransactions for small cosmetic items, and I'm on board with that. The 99 pence I spent on the Back to the Future DeLorean Rocket League car was 99 pence well spent, as was the Snoop Dogg voiceover pack in Call of Duty. But paying for one-time use items in single player is ridiculous. $1.99 for extra guns or extra ammo is $1.99 for what we used to call cheat codes. It also cheapens the whole experience. Imagine if Hollywood started doing this. Yippee-ki-yay, mother... Sign in now to purchase motherfucker DLC for $4.99. Jack, I'll never let go. Does Jack live? Purchase a large drink and popcorn in the foyer to find out. Sick of it. Number 1. Electronic Arts. EA, oh EA, where did it all go wrong? Well, we can tell you. It began when EA started buying our favourite games companies and killing them off. Like Maxis, Visceral, Pandemic Studios, Westwood Studios, Bullfrog Productions, Criterion Games, BioWare and DICE. Okay, the last 3 are still going, but the clock is ticking on those. And we still miss Command & Conquer. Badly. Killing off studios that make our beloved franchises wasn't enough. The quality of games has gone downhill in recent years as well, including game-breaking DLC bugs. Battlefield 4, anyone? This is also reflected in game scores as well, with much lower game scores across the board, even from IGN. Now, I'm not saying all EA games are bad. I enjoyed SimCity 2013 after all the... when it worked. I liked it when they fixed it. But with a name like Electronic Arts, you should be the company that all game developers and publishers aspire to be, the holy grail of gaming. But EA is the complete opposite, and it might as well be called Electronic Farts as far as I'm concerned. And then there was a DRM rootkit in Sport and Red Alert 3. Clearly they didn't learn anything from Sony's mistakes back in the day. And if that wasn't bad enough, there's been a bunch of reports of how badly EA staff are treated. And then there was the huge controversy with Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is basically just gambling for kids. Gambling for kids. It was so bad, in fact, that the head of Disney called EA and said, "Stop being morons," or words to that effect. And then there's their pay-to-win mechanics in other games like FIFA and UFC Ultimate Team. If there is pay to win involved, the game should be free. You're getting charged for the same content twice. EA, we understand that you have to make money. That's a given. But if it's just about money, quit games and go and invest in the stock market or something. And stop destroying the industry that we love. And players, decide with your wallets. Stop buying electronic farts, money-grabbing shovelware. But to end on a happy note, in 2012 and 2013, the Consumerist awarded EA with the worst company in America. I think they deserve that award again. Until next time, keep playing.